नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवैभव पुरी गोस्वामी नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने। अजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरो कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो शुभधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो लीलोधुलितखेदया विसदया प्रमीलदामोदया साम्यशास्त्रविवादया रसदया चित्तारितोन्मादया सत्त्वद्भक्तिविनोदया समदया माधुर्यमध्यादया श्रीचैतन्यदया निधिवदया भूया दमन्दोदया सत्या अपार रससार विलासमूर्ति रानन्दकन्द परमाधुत सौम्यलक्ष्म्यः ब्रह्मादिदुर्गमगते वृषभानुजायाः पैङ्कर्यमेव मम जन्मनि जन्मनि स्यात् तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वविना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वं नय मां शरणान्तिकम्। हे देव हे दयित हे भुवनैकबन्धो हे कृष्ण हे चपल हे करुणैकसिन्धो हे नाथ हे रमण हे नयनाभिराम आहा कदा नु भवितासि पदं मृतोर्मे। अङ्गश्यामलिमा छटाभिरभितो मन्दीकृतेन्दीवरं जाड्यं जागुडरोचितं विदधतं पटाम्बरस्य प्रिया बृन्दारण्यनिवसिनं हृदि लसत् दामाभिरामोदरं राधास्कन्दनिवेशितोज्ज्वलभुजं ध्यायेम दामोदरम्। निचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मे बलभद्रसुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधरस्ते चित्ताशकालान्तरङ्गमध्ये वैपायन निराकार मुनिमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
in the pastimes of him. That is also a month of Kartik. It is due to causeless mercy of him. If he would not go to Western country, I think it was impossible to be assembled here. So he first sent this or took this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered by his Gurudev Nityala Preshtam Vishnumpa Ashtotra Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami to satisfy him. He did this service going to the Western country, as a result of which now we are here to learn about his glories. So today is very, very auspiciousness. So first of all I request to our Pujapad Bhakti Vedanta Tapasi Maharaj. Sadhana Maharaj, he is coming. Okay. Prabhupada disciple. Okay. But we have to wait.
No, he is. His chair is ready.
No, no. Yes, we have to wait.
Just come to the door as well. Now, Pujapad Sadhana Maharaj is in Guru Varga.
Yeah. So we are very fortunate to have the association of our Pujapad Tidhan Swami Bhakti Vedanta Sadhana Maharaj, who is one of the disciples of Prabhupada. So we will listen the glory of Prabhupada from his lotus leaves. So all of you, attention please. So I request him to first start his nectarine words.
Prabhupada Samadhi is right here.
Yes.
Those who are here today first time or who are not familiar, see the Prabhupada Samadhi is right here. So we are very close to his eternal residence in this area. Yeah, he is also in Govardhan, especially residing here and accepting the service of the devotees.
Gurudev Gaurachandraya Hari-katha Dalai Krishnai Krishna Bhaktai Tad Bhaktai Namo Agyanatimranda Shagyanandana Slokara Chakshune Tamnena Taismai Sri Namo Namaste Stamunam Api Sachiputra Matra Svarupam Rupam Tashagajam Uparam Matram Bostavatim Radhakundam Girivarho Radhikamaravasyam Prakto Yashapati Kripaya Sri Guru Tamna Tosmi Vanchikalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavlebhyo Vaishnavebhyam Namo Namah Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama First of all, I from my Dandavat Sastan Pranams unlimited times. Nitya Lila Vishta Master Tarata Tashish Manshila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Maishila Prabhupada and my Sannyas and Shiksha Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Master Tarata Tashish Manshila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Master Tarata Tashish Manshila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj My dear God brother, Nitya Lila Pravishto Master Tarazita Shish Majil Gorgo Gosvami Maharaj. My dear Shiksha Guru Rev Nitya Lila Pravishto Master Tarazita Shish Majil Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Gosvami Maharaj. All the Acharyas in line of Shiv, Rupanuga Guru Varga, the Samal Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Sannyasi Gan, Ujjwait Bhakti Svarupa, Sridhara Goswami Maharaj. Rajanath Prabhu yesterday was speaking about Mahaprabhu's question, Ramananda Roy, about that do Vaishnavas have pain and what is that? So today and yesterday is the Raha Mahotsava, separation of Sudha Bhaktas in our life, Sadgurus who have come to liberate us from this miserable material existence and grab us and take us out. Srila Prabhupada has given the West so many gifts. Of course, his greatest gift was his personal association and example, pushing on this Krishna consciousness movement beyond the boundaries of India, suffering 2 heart attacks on the way to the West, coming there, 40 rupees, but with a wealth of treasure and some Srimad Bhagavatams that he had translated in the first canto. So then there in Boston Harbor he wrote a beautiful poem, Markini Bhagavat. Oh my dear Lord, why have you brought me here to this miserable place, so full of ignorance? How will they be able to receive this message unless you empower me to touch their hearts? You have brought me here to make me dance, and make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance as you like. And he danced such a beautiful dance, Swami step, Tompkins Square Park, chanting the holy name, giving a simple message. You're not your body, you're spirit soul. You're not meant to be in this miserable place. Jeev jago, kora chandra bole, kotra nidra. Wake up, sleeping souls. So his presence was so powerful. In 1974 in Hawaii, when I first saw him, I had been reading his books and associated with the devotees, chanting. I was in a small ashram on a different island, and then we came to Oahu, a mansion donated by Alfred Ford Ambarish Prabhu, and there was Srila Prabhupada. Yesterday I spoke with Srila Vaman Maharaj, would look in her eyes. All the Sudha Bhaktas, their glance is so powerful. Chakshudana Dilo De, Jami Jami Prabhu saying. And I knew this personality. Knew me better than I knew myself, and was looking through every cell of my body. I felt so insignificant. And when he came down the stairs, the temple, entered into the temple room in the morning. Govindam Haripurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Greeting the deities, beautiful Panchatattva deities in Honolulu. So many devotees I always knew. So you couldn't get close to him. He was so smaller and he disappeared amongst all the ocean of devotees. So I was in the back, but then after greeting the deities, and he took Charnamrita. He came and sat down on the Vyasasana, which was in the back, so I was right in front of him. So powerful. And he was distributing cookies to the children and to the mothers that grabbed other people's children so they could get the cookies. And the Prabhus were seeing all the cookies disappeared. But there was one cookie left. Somebody pushed me from behind. And I got pushed right in front of Srila Prabhupada, so I stuck my hand and he smiled and put the cookie in my hand. He's giving much gifts to the Western world, translations in different languages, deity seva, archan. Just here, a little while before his final departure, when he was doing his disappearance Leela, he had the pujaris come in because they'd been bringing him photographs of Krishna Balaram, Radha Shama Sundar, Nitai Gora. So they brought the pujaris in, and he said, "You pujaris are blessed to have this service. This is the best service one can do for the Lord. You're with the Lord, you're serving Him, practicing here in your seva, what you will do there, waking the Lord, bathing Him, dressing Him, ornamenting Him, giving Him bhog, foodstuffs, artik. This is the highest service. Thank you for your service." And they were astonished, thanking Prabhupada to give them that service. But many of the book distributors were thinking, I thought book distribution was the best service. In one marathon, we distributed so many books. Prabhupada, even though the previous year was so astonishing, Srila Prabhupada said, okay, this year double it. Double it. And that was one of the times Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. And we did, we doubled it. So many hours on the lots, on the streets, the airports, busing store to store. Prabhupada received results of the book distribution, results in different countries. And he said, are they reading my books? Very good, they distribute them, but they must read. Very powerful. Srila Prabhupada's books open your eyes. His transcendental purports illuminated the teachings that were there even. So many gifts he gave us. And then on his departure, on his bed here, before his departure, bring Narayana coming to this world. Please help him. And please give me my samadhi. So, there's also a very important gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us with the association of Srila Bhakti Gosvami Maharaja, who gave us the second installment of Srila Prabhupada's desire to preach in the West, the postgraduate study, entrance into that realm of Anarpita Trim Trat Karna Eternal Kalo. That Unotoj Valasam Sabhakti Shri Mahaprabhu came to give. Premraj Korti Ashran Raga Marga Bhakti Korti Prachran. He came to experience this love of Srimati Radharani for himself and to distribute that in spontaneous attraction to the Lord, Raghunuga Bhakti. Such an incomparable gift that he has given and continues to give us. He reasons El who tell that Vaishnavas die when out living still and sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and while living spread the holy name around. Prabhupada said, I live eternally in my books, where different devotees say, what will we do after you leave, this, that, and everything, after you leave this. I will never leave. I am always with you. And Sri Damodarastakam said, I'm closer to the air, to you, the air you breathe. These personalities are so powerful. Prabhupada said, just like Krishna was always, although he went to Mathura, he was always with the inhabitants of Vrindavan, always with the Brajpasis. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, although it seems like he leaves. So these acharyas, it seems like they leave. They take their avirbhav and tirubhavasva. Seems like they come and go, but they are always here transcendentally, helping us, urging us, nourishing us. My first meeting with Sridhara in Bad New Braj, I was introduced by Gopavrinda as his brother. And so Gurudev came up to me and he said, oh, how have you come here? And that glance of devotee was so powerful. That was the first time I'd received his glance, just penetrating you, making you feel this big, but filling you with so much transcendence of his presence. I'm thinking, how have I come? So those who have been to New Braj knows there's a J21, there's a winding road up from, and I'm thinking like this. And he interrupted my thinking and said, no. I hadn't spoken yet, but he said, no. He knew what I was thinking. How have you come to your Swami Maharaj, your Prabhupada? And I'm thinking, I was in Hawaii in 1974. And it's like, and no. Again, interrupted my thoughts and said, no, you have not come to him. He has come to you. And he took my chadar and he pulled like this. He has come to you because he wants to pull you out of this material world and take back to Radha Krishna Nityananda Mahaprabhu. And he turned around and walked away. I realized Srila Prabhupada was giving my Shiksha Guru. And he was so present at the moment, smiling. So, on this day of his holy transcendental disappearance from this world, it is explained that the Guru is Jive Shakshranai Tata Chaita Guru Rupe Shiksha Guru Haiti Krishna Mahan Svarupa. We have Antrayami, we have Chaita Guru, we have Guru in our heart, Paramatma, giving us instructions continuously, every day, every moment. Do this, yes, do that, don't do that. But we're absorbed in this material conception and existence, and so we don't hear those valuable instructions of the Antayana. But mercifully he appears before us as a transcendental Mahant, Shiksha Guru, externally, so we can experience those instructions. So merciful. So on this day of his transcendental Leela, like he disappeared from this world, but he jumped back into our hearts as Antaryami, Shiksha Guru. We pray that we can always connect everyone, whether you're his shiksha, whether you're his disciple, grand-disciple, great-grand-disciple. You've accepted him as a great teacher in your life, reading his books. He's always present, guiding and urging us towards the ultimate goal of life. Sadhana Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. I didn't want to speak so long. Yesterday, many of us spoke so long, but it's relishable. And I'm feeling that presence of Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnavas assembled here. Maharaj has many beautiful stories to tell of his time with Srila Prabhupada. Premananda Prabhu, where I'm staying, at 9 years old, darshan of Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur. The last place I saw Srila Prabhupada in 77 was his Mayapur Chandra died here. Prabhuji, although he doesn't want it spoken, he received Harinam from Srila Prabhupada. Nitya Leela Vishnu Master Tarazat Shish Manchila Bhaktivedanta. Swami Maharaja Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Now I request to Sridhara.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, a little bit better, right? Yeah. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshudam Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachardine Nirvasesa Sanyavadi Paskachade Satarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shishima Bhakvedanta Narayani Tinamine. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I would like to offer my countless humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Nityalila Pavishtam Vishnupada Stotra Satashishiman Abhaya Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And I would also like to offer my humble obeisance unlimited times to Nityalila Pavishtam Vishnupada Stotra Satashishiman Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosvami Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru and my abiding friend, who's helping me understand what a benediction it is to have Srila Prabhupada's teachings in my life. Do we have time limit?
No.
15 minutes or something? Yeah.
Nitya.
Huh?
Nitya.
Nitya.
How long you know?
Let's see what comes.
Your property is about, you can speak more.
I'd like to remind myself that I have two big topics to talk about today. One is, well, of course, Srila Prabhupada, and the other, but that's divided into two parts. One is my experience of Srila Prabhupada, my personal experience, and the other is I'll share something special with you afterwards, talking directly about Prabhupada and his qualities. A few years ago, I called the BBT and I asked them, I don't know if, I mean, you could probably do this yourself, but you can call the BBT and they have an email. They have a way of tracing how many devotees were in the movement when I was initiated. It was just a curiosity. I wanted to find out. I first read Srila Prabhupada's books when I was perhaps 14 years old. I was 11 years old when Prabhupada came to the West on the Jaladuta. And in 1972, when I took initiation from Srila Prabhupada, there were 400 initiated devotees in the movement at large. So, you know, and when I remember back to all these times, we're talking now, 52 years ago and beyond that, I always promised myself when I was a kid that I was never going to pull the old man stunt by saying how old I am or how much I've been through, but I'll make an exception today. If I look around the world and I see the movement and I see all of the different branches of the Chaitanya tree, I'm reminded that the main branch of that Chaitanya tree in the Kali Yuga is the Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada branch. Right? From that root, from that branch, all the other branches are coming in some way or other. So, looking back and remembering, maybe I'll have some reminiscence of Srila Prabhupada, but I shouldn't begin without glorifying my God brothers and God sisters, who back then, we were all very, very young. I was 17, so didn't really know much about anything. All I knew is that God could save me, and I needed saving, so I took her at his lotus feet. But my God brothers and God sisters all around the world, as the movement developed, undertook arduous austerities in order to help Srila Prabhupada achieve his mission. One day in Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada was on the Vyasa-sang. This is maybe 1975 or something like that. And Srila Prabhupada said that if you all just try to follow this Hare Krishna process, this Krishna consciousness movement, you follow the regulated principles, if you do your best, he said, I personally guarantee that I will take you back to Godhead after this life. And then he started to weep, audibly weep, and had to spend some minutes to control himself. So we know from our philosophy, from Srila Gurudev, that maybe jumping back up into the spiritual world is not so easy. It takes many lifetimes, lots of mercy. But I became curious about this recently, and I looked up in Srila Prabhupada's letters, and back in 1956, I think it was, so then I would have been, 2 years old. He wrote a man in, what is it? Sorry, this is where I'm getting old now. I can actually say I'm old. I'm 70 now, so when I have lapse of memory. Where did Prabhupada start his mission? Bumsi? No. Jhansi, yeah. League of Devotees. And he had that beautiful Mahaprabhu, which is now in Mathuramat. He wrote some gentleman back then, and he said something to the effect of, I hope you don't think that I'm a wonderful man or a madman. He said, but I have this conviction that I can go back to Godhead in this life. And he said, and so I also have the conviction that I can take all my fellows, men and women, back to Godhead with me. So please don't think me mad, but try to spend some time reading the books that I've been writing and reading my Back to Godhead magazine. So he actually named it the Back to Godhead magazine specifically for the purpose of sharing that message. There was one time there was a series of morning walks in Los Angeles when we would go to Venice Beach, and Srila Prabhupada was talking at that time about the nonsense scientists, and he was calling into question the truth that we're presenting to people. And the devotees, as always, very enthusiastically, they were agreeing with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, I think I'm the first person in history to call into question the truth of these rascals. And they said, yeah, Prabhupada, yes, Prabhupada. And one devotee said something like, yes, it's very recent that, all this scientism has taken over the world. And Prabhupada said, no, it's not very recent at all. It's been going on for a few hundred years. This moving away from the divine and the sacred and the pure in life to the profane and to the mundane, and to seeing everything in the material world as just matter. All you are is meat bodies. So that was the thing that impressed me the most when I first read Bhagavad Gita, was that I discovered I wasn't a meat body, that my body isn't going to rot. Well, my body is going to rot. It's already rotting. But I'm more than my body. So this message of Srila Prabhupada captured the minds and the hearts of my generation of people. Prabhupada came, and many of us were hippies. He said he made hippies into happies. Some of us were living naked in trees, smoking all kinds of dope and doing crazy nonsense things. But we were exploring. And in many ways, you could say that Prabhupada reached down into the lower rungs of society and made Vaishnavas, made devotees out of these persons. It's very, very, very special what Prabhupada has done. So you can look at what happened then, and you can say, well, they were all crazy, and we were. But one letter that Prabhupada wrote, and is also back in the 50s, was that he was hopeful of attracting intelligent men and women, educated men and women to his movement. But when he came, of course, at first it didn't really seem like he got that. But that's because everybody was kind of in the rough, if you understand my meaning. Because later on, with Prabhupada's influence, with Prabhupada's teachings, with his example, with his incredibly positive way of looking at everything, you can do anything for Krishna. I mean, we didn't know anything about anything, most of us. We were really young. You can print books, you can edit books, you can learn Sanskrit, you can learn Bali, you can go out in the world and preach, you can speak to high-minded, high-placed persons in society. You can do all these things because I've given you the blessing to do it. And so all of my contemporaries, we really, really experienced that. And so we did many, many things that, are certainly by today's standards, kind of unthinkable, really, how we distributed Pandita one time in Belgium, her and a couple of other devotees, they went into a slaughterhouse where they were slaughtering the cows. But they went in with Bhagavad Gitas, and they opened up the Bhagavad Gitas to where there's the picture of the animals being slaughtered. And they sold Bhagavad Gitas to everybody in the slaughterhouse. Anybody here game for that? I wouldn't want to go near a slaughterhouse. Brinda. Oh, Brinda was one of them, of course. Yeah, Brinda was one of them. I think. Yeah, you and Pandita and some others. So, there's this, what Prabhupada imbued in us was a faith in the unbelievable. Who was it? Maharaj just said, maybe it was you, I don't remember. Impossible is in a fool's dictionary, right? That was Napoleon, by the way, who said that. That's what Prabhupada quoted him. Prabhupada didn't think anything was impossible. If you want to see some example of somebody that embodies that spirit, it's most likely, best example is Shamarani. Because whenever you work with her, she thinks big, she thinks expansively, she's very, very, anything's possible. So my point is that before I get into talking about in a little more detail Prabhupada, I think it's important to honor my contemporaries who came to Prabhupada in the very early days and on the basis of reading his books became convinced that this is the absolute truth. And given the times that we were living in and the circumstances that we were dealing with, the Vietnam War, impending nuclear holocaust, and so on, it seemed rather urgent that we use our youthful energy to try to make the world a better place. So all of us had this, it was almost like a little army. When in Boston we had 50 brahmacharis, and for their ultimate purification and exaltation in the spiritual world, 3 women, 3 brahmacharis who had to put up with that experience. So they paid all their karma off by that experience. So the world needed saving. Many of us thought that. One time I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. We were in Hari-katha, and it was me, Bhumna Dev, and Rameshwar. He wasn't a Swami then. And one Indian industrialist who took us to his private gardens, this massive private gardens in the middle of Kolkata. And well, I can't remember who was speaking, but they were waxing enthusiastic. Prabhupada, we're going to save the world. We're going to distribute all your books. Everyone's going to become a devotee. You know, this is how we thought. We had that enthusiasm, thanks to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada stopped in his tracks, and he turned and he looked at me. I wasn't the one speaking, by the way, but he turned and looked at me and he said, put his stick into the ground. He said, but first you have to save yourself. Do you understand that? And I went, oh, yes, Prabhupada. You know, I didn't. That's actually been a theme of my entire life, trying to figure out how to save myself. Luckily, we have sadhus who are coming and helping us do that. So this is what, 50 years ago? And where are we now? Part of the talks in Venice Beach chanced upon conversations about the Kali Yuga and what the Kali Yuga was going to be like. And there was one time we had arrived back, we were standing in front of the Venice Beach, the Venice Boulevard Temple, and one devotee, Prabhupada, really, what's it going to be like? And Prabhupada stopped and he closed his eyes, and then he opened his eyes really wide, and he like rolled his eyes up into the sky, and he said, horrible. He said, you cannot imagine what the Kali Yuga will be like. But he also made the point that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kali Yuga. And I'm saying this because of Prabhupada's prominent role in bringing that solution of the holy name to the world. He was the one who brought it. Is it getting any worse? You're getting older like me. In the last 50 years, have things gotten worse?
Oh, God.
Huh? Right?
Yes.
And if you project with your artificial intelligence, I'm sure I'm sure Prabhupada would make a lot of mileage with that artificial intelligence. Where are we going? You know, where we're going is the complete dominance of consciousness. So you won't be able to think about anything other than what anybody else wants you to think about. You'll be so distracted, so filled up with trivia and nonsense and so many things, so many preconceived conceptions. Most people are being taught how to be compliant. The devotees resist that. That's why the devotees are special. They don't want to participate in that. So where are you going? And, you know, if you think, well, what do we do about it? Prabhupada tried to, you know, there's this famous astrologer that talked about Prabhupada's chart, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes, if I have time. And he said, oh, this is the chart of a person who can build a house the whole world can live in. So Srila Prabhupada's mission, his intent was to stop the suffering. Not just to open hospitals or whatever, but to stop the root cause of suffering. And he undertook so many sacrifices and inspired so many young people to also make sacrifices, which has resulted in the movement now becoming everywhere, every town and village. It's true, isn't it? Many branches of the Prabhupada tree, I guess you could say it like that. Many branches of the Prabhupada branches of the Chaitanya tree, but it's going everywhere. There should be some kind of archive on the internet that talks about all the crazy things that we did as devotees in trying to please Srila Prabhupada. As Maharaj said, double the books, triple the books. I'm trying to remember all the other things I wanted to share. Prabhupada is self-evident acharya. Maharaj made the point that of what is an acharya. It's not just a person who is very skilled in the Shastras or is living a good life or being a good Vaishnava, but it's somebody who, by their example, teaches how to live that perfect life. And we now, history has proven who Srila Prabhupada is. We know what Srila Prabhupada has done. We're all the beneficiaries of that. But to show you the greatness of Vedic knowledge, I thought I would just share with you a couple of details about Srila Prabhupada's astrological chart. Because in the Vedas, it says that these great Mahapurushas that come, you can see it in the chart. Anybody here know anything about astrology, Vedic astrology? Not really, you do. Astrology, Vedic astrology, Jyotish, is kind of like a language that Krishna whispers to us. He can communicate to us through that language. And the Shastras give conditions that if you find in the chart, you can, it's a verification that this person is a great devotee, a great Vaishnava, a great Mahapurush. Did you hand me that? So I just thought I would summarize some of Prabhupada's very special qualities by reference to his chart. And I'll speak a little bit of mumbo jumbo, but I'll explain what I mean always. Is that okay if I do that?
Yes.
Yeah? I'll take 5 more minutes. I'll do it fast. Well, we'll see. So this is what I'm looking at when I'm talking. Okay? And this is like a chessboard. And depending on the pieces of the chessboard are, you can know if you're playing a grandmaster or not. Yeah. So I'm going to just, let me see if I can do it this way. First of all, if you really scrutinize Srila Prabhupada's chart, you find nothing but perfection. There's not a flaw in it. That's a rare, rare, rare thing. Lord of the Ascendant, which is Sagittarius, which represents Guru, Krishna, God, Shastra, right? Philosophy. Sagittarius rises. Yeah, you know something of it?
No.
No?
Just a picture.
Okay. And Lord of the Ascendant is in the 9th house, which is God, Guru, spirituality, auspiciousness. And it's conjunct the Sun. So when Jupiter and the Sun are conjunct, it gives great spiritual prowess. Automatically, this little configuration alone represents Prabhupada's pure devotion to Radha and Krishna. If you read the Shastras, it'll say great devotee of Vishnu, right? If you just take it in that way. What's the sun? The sun is the brightest planet. It represents the Atma, the self. Jupiter is Guru, which represents all good fortune and blessings. So when the two are together in the 9th house, you have such an abundance of purity, such an abundance of godliness that it's impossible to not see. That alone is something really very, very unique. In the house of Dharma, Prabhupada has a Bhadra Mahapurush Yoga. Bhadra Mahapurush Yoga means like Mercury being in exaltation. So what is Mercury? It's like intelligence, refinement, precision, analysis. In the 10th house of Dharma, it means Prabhupada's really coming to reestablish the Dharma for the age. Prior to Prabhupada's arrival, nobody knew anything about what was the Dharma for the age. Well, maybe here in Vrindavan or Bengal, but certainly for Western people, we had no concept of what are we supposed to do? I mean, all we've been told is that we're supposed to struggle hard for an existence and earn money and pay our mortgage and grow old and die, which Larly doesn't want to do like that program, does she? I don't want to waste my life like that. Prabhupada's senses were completely controlled. Venus is debilitated in the 10th house, right? So Venus in debilitation means that there's no attraction to material pleasure at all. It was one time that Prabhupada was walking into a big pandal in Bombay, and there were thousands and thousands of people there. And when Prabhupada walked in, they all stood up and they were, glorifying Prabhupada. He turned to his secretary and he said, do you know why they give me so much respect? Do you know why they're treating me like this? And I think the devotee something like, well, because you're Prabhupada or something, And he said something to the effect of, no, the reason is that I've conquered sex desire. So if you conquer sex desire, it means you have no material desire, right? What is Virgo? Virgo is purity. Virgo is the virgin. Virgo is the chaste pinnacle of thought. So Prabhupada's coming with great intellectual prowess because the 10th house aspects the 4th house of intellect. So Prabhupada's focus here is on Dharma, establishing Dharma, and showing the clear, unadulterated pathway to go back to the spirit world. To not screw around in this world looking for one thing or another. Well, maybe it's this path, or maybe it's that path. If you give me the chart of anybody out there in the world who's purporting to be a spiritual savior, if they don't have a chart like this, no. So it's proof. It's actually proof. In terms of erudition, it's all there. Prabhupada's ability to write books. Were you there in Los Angeles at that time? Maybe you were, Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada was doing the book marathon. Were you there?
17 months.
17 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I joined the movement, and there's only 400 people initiated, what we experienced as time went on was that drip, 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 Prabhupada was coming out with new books. So as the movement was growing, we were also growing. Oh, look at this. We were always surprised by discovering the things that Srila Prabhupada was revealing in his writings. Almost done. Yeah. Here's the moon and Mars in the 6th house. The 6th house represents service. It represents the giving, devotion, caring for other people. That's why the 6th house of Virgo represents Vaishnavas. So my daily meditation is looking at this chart, looking at Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj's chart, looking at Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Maharaj's chart, and other acharyas' charts, and you can just look at them and chant to them if you know the language, which you do, so you could try it. It's a wonderful experience. They come through and they reveal themselves in different ways. So 6th house means service, giving, helping, healing. It's a sign of it's the house of healers. And the moon is there in Mrigashira, the nakshatra Mrigashira, which is a very sweet, gentle nakshatra. And it's in the sign of where Krishna's moon is, when Krishna appears. So his Mars is in Rohini. So Mars and moon in Taurus. Anybody know what Taurus symbol is? Nandi, a bull. So Prabhupada's a Brijbasi. He's a devotee of Krishna. And when you put the energy of Mars together with an exalted moon, because the moon is exalted, it's in the best place he can be, and then you have the power to do things, come across the ocean in bad weather on a banana boat with a few dollars in your pocket and hardly anybody that you know in the country you're going to. It's just like immense determination. But maybe one of the more also, and this will be the last thing I say about it because we could talk for hours, but Saturn here is exalted in the 11th house. So exalted means he's in Libra. So Libra is for the people. It's all about people. It's about relationships. And the 11th house is the masses of people. And so with Saturn in the 11th house in the masses of people, it shows that Prabhupada's mission was to come and actually, in principle, certainly according to his desire, take everybody back to Godhead. So with that little meditation, I'll leave you with just the reflection on what special personality Srila Prabhupada is, how everything that we that we have in terms of our practice, in terms of our knowledge, in terms of our life, all comes from Prabhupada. Nobody else was there to do it. He did it. And he paved the way for others to follow. And so many now are following. Multiple generations of devotees are coming thanks to Prabhupada, who said that, our grandchildren would be pure devotees. So Maharaj is coming, Brajanath Prabhu is offering such nice facility. Maharaj is giving so much inspiration. This is a blessing from Prabhupada. Srila Gurudev also said it like that. He said, I'm coming just to be where your Srila Prabhupada was. What did he say? There was 4 things, right? Coming to honor Prabhupada's pastime places, coming to help Prabhupada devotees, and I'm coming to laugh every day. Huh? Yeah, okay. Oh, afterwards. Okay. Yeah, all right. So you could.
Most importantly, I want to go everywhere where Srila Bhakti Prabhupada placed his lotus feet. I want to take the dust and smear it all over my body. I want to honor all the devotees who have any relationship with Srila Prabhupada and encourage them to again become enthusiastic.
We did that with Maharaja in England. Do you remember the first place we went, when you came to the house in England? On the edge of that park?
Sridhar's apartment.
Huh?
The apartment of Sridhara.
No, not Sridhara. The one that I had. Bath, yeah. But you went to Radlett also, I think. But Maharaj went to all these places, our house, and there was Brighton. And also, there was a park across from our house, and he's paid obeisances to wherever Srila Gurudev,
In Bath, in your place also. In Bath.
In Bath. So this is what we have to thank Prabhupada for, and glorify Prabhupada, that he started a tsunami.
Yes.
And if you want a cure for the Kali Yuga, if you want a cure to protect your consciousness from being colonized by the material forces, then just think International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That's the answer. Not necessarily the organization, though I think they're also okay, but consciousness. Yeah, all we have to do is remember Prabhupada, remember the Vaishnavas, and that's the antidote. We can live happily and peacefully, and we have Prabhupada to thank for all of that. So thank you for listening. Vancha kalpatubhyascha kripasindubevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I was a little more cogent today than yesterday, right?
Oh, fabulous.
Now, I request to Bhakti Vedanta Tapasya. Huh? Sorry? No, other properties who? Other properties who?
They're all.
Huh?
They're all disciples of Prabhupada. Disciples. Is it correct or not?
Huh?
You are also Prabhupada disciple.
No.
No,
Yes, I'm
following.
not following.
Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshulmitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I offer my satsang pranams to my beloved mothers, Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Swami Maharaj, to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, to Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to all our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, to Srila Bhakti Svarupa Sridhara Maharaj, Rajanath Prabhu, Vidara Prabhu, Sajan Maharaj. Is he still here? Oh, there, yes. And to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Hare Krishna. So, I want to thank Vidara Prabhu and Sajan Maharaj for their beautiful glorification of Srila Prabhupada, because the more we hear about Srila Prabhupada from the Vaishnavas, then the more depth that we go into in our own hearts, and it churns more and more. So by hearing, we're able to relish more our relationship with such Vaishnavas. And certainly in 97, when Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj in Barshana on the Parikram on today, Titi, was speaking about Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who got the first glimpse for myself into the jewels, the riches actually that Srila Prabhupada is and came to give. Many devotees had glorified Srila Prabhupada on that day, as usual, about his distribution of Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And I was also of the opinion, yes, that is great, Prabhupada's greatness, and it certainly is his greatness. And how he had made the hippies into happies. But that day when Gurudev explained that his real glory is his position in the spiritual world, who he is there, I came to understand that by hearing from the Vaishnavas, those who are such personalities, then our relationship grows exponentially, and we're able to then appreciate them even more deeply. So, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he would also very much feel that his Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, was always present in his life. And as we know, he would become upset if for any reason someone was saying, oh, Prabhupada is not present. So he gave us that nishta, that always Srila Prabhupada is there in our life. And I more recently had one example. There was one lady, she maybe came to Krishna consciousness maybe 1 or 2 years before. She had no connection with Srila Prabhupada. This is in Damodar. I was speaking to her, and she had said that, actually I had no connection with Srila Prabhupada, but for 1 year I meditated on Srila Prabhupada. And now I feel I have this connection with Srila Prabhupada. So as we discuss and hear about Srila Prabhupada, our meditation on him, our absorption deepens. And the reciprocation also is fully open on all days, but especially on days like today. I thought I would just touch briefly on an aspect of Srila Prabhupada's outreach, his preaching. And although many religionists are traditionalist. They will come from a very conservative place, and from that conservative place contribute their teachings. And when you see Srila Prabhupada, he certainly was a traditionalist in the sense that he was speaking from the Vedic teachings and sharing those Vedic teachings with the whole world. At the same time, he wasn't stuck in a one approach. He, for example, Varnashram Dharma, that had become something that most people had rejected because of the caste system. That they were saying, oh, this Varnashram Dharma is keeping people trapped within this caste system. But Srila Prabhupada, he showed actually how the caste system, in its, not the caste system, sorry, how the Varnashram Dharma in its real sense was something that actually could contribute to one's Krishna consciousness. He took, because traditionalists, they want to stay in the past. They look at the past and say, oh, this is very good, and we should stay in the past. You hear many people, older people generally, they saying, oh, in the past, things were so good. So Srila Prabhupada, he certainly took from the past, but he didn't stay in the past. He took what was there and he used it in the modern way. So he was a traditionalist, but at the same time, he had that flexibility to use it, to use anything and everything in this world. And we know, like technology, how everything Prabhupada used was to further the Krishna consciousness movement. So that many religionists are traditionalists. So Srila Prabhupada stepped out of that. Then there is the utopianist. The utopianist is, they live in the present. You hear it today so much, be in the present, live in the present. So certainly Srila Prabhupada was living in the present, but in his present was Krishna consciousness, his connection with Krishna. So he wasn't even a utopianist, he wasn't just sticking to the present, but he wasn't also a utopianist. The utopianist is thinking about the future, that very soon some amazing thing will happen, and then in the future we will live in that. But actually Srila Prabhupada was constantly, he was a transcendentalist. He was above these living in the past, the traditionalist. He was also above the living in the present, and he was also above living in the future, the utopianist. He actually was a transcendentalist, and so he came specifically to give Krishna consciousness. And so many traditional religionists have come to stick to a certain method. But you see in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he didn't actually stick to a particular approach. He was so transcendental that whatever worked, that was the most important thing. And certainly you see how there's this struggle between the old and the new, and how Prabhupada was to bring those two together. Certainly being a conservative, Prabhupada was conservative because he was following these traditional ways, but he wasn't stuck in them. And so that's something that, for example, we see that many of the Indian teachers that came at that time, they taught their message, but Srila Prabhupada, actually he brought to also simple living in nature.